And welcome to the New England Job Show. My name is Brian Henchy. With us today is Mark McCurdy. He's the author of the book Strategic Volunteering, 50 Ingredients to Transform Your Life and Career. He's the founder of the nonprofit Career Coach and managing partner of Scion Nonprofit Staffing. As an author, executive recruiter, and trainer in the nonprofit sector, Mark has helped over 4,000 professionals find their purpose within nonprofit organizations, as well as help hundreds of social good organizations to discover strategic employees. Mark McCurdy, welcome to the New England Job Show.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Why don't you tell us some of the benefits that people get by doing volunteering?
Again, there's been a lot of research, more recently on this. And in fact, we have a slide that we might be able to even jump to, which maybe would be number 3.
Okay.
And this is talking about kind of the growing research on volunteering, and really the key component which they highlight here. This is a study done by the Corporation for National and Community Service.
Okay.
And they really talk about volunteering can really help you have lower mortality rates, greater functional ability, and lower rates of depression. And I think that can be a really key component, actually, is this depression piece. Because when you do become depressed, oftentimes you kind of shut down your creativity. Mm-hmm. And so as you volunteer, it can really help you to be more positive, and thus kind of releasing more of your creativity to look at different ideas, different situations, or even different contexts, maybe in a new light. I think that's really important too. A lot of this strategic volunteering is not only about taking immediate action and getting engaged, but also who are you around, right? You've already thought about, what are you passionate about? What does the community or population really want to serve? And chances are other people, may have very similar thoughts or passions that are now engaged with these organizations, right? So you begin to develop a professional network that's really a long-term, really long-term friendships. And I've certainly seen them turn into more than friendships too. But again, really thinking about the relationships that you can develop at the organization as well. Even as a volunteer, I've certainly heard stories of individuals who have gone in to volunteered, and they've been recommended maybe another organization, another company that they may want to, reach out to, or that they've been able to make a connection, and that it's worked out positively, for paid employment. So there's another kind of added benefit to this strategic volunteering, which is really thinking about where do you want to plant your career seeds and just keep on watering it, and then to watch those really grow.
And that's excellent, because not only when you're doing the volunteering, for everybody who's been unemployed for a while, the worst thing you can do is stay at home. And you might be on the internet for hours and hours and hours, but to actually get out and meet with people. But if you're volunteering, you're socializing, you're engaging with other people, you're hopefully adding new skills, meeting other people who can help you in your career transition, whatever it is that you ultimately want to do. So everything you said is positive, and like you just said, the best thing is having a lower rate of depression. So yeah, being unemployed can be really tough. So why don't we also talk about money? When a lot of people think that when you work for a nonprofit that it is impossible to make a decent salary, or at least I think a lot of people think that if you're in nonprofit, there's no way that you can really make a very good living. Is that true?
I think it definitely falls in that stereotype, right? Okay. And so my answer to that is you can certainly make a good living at it. Here in Massachusetts, over 13% of the population is employed by nonprofits.
Really?
Yeah. And there are also some interesting data out there as well that say the nonprofit sector as a whole is among the top 3 largest sectors in the nation. So that's, again, another interesting way to think about it. And so a lot of people forget about hospitals or educational institutions or some of these other organizations that actually are nonprofits. So sometimes it's kind of opening up your awareness to what other historically definitions of nonprofits, they may look a little different, and particularly now they may even, not only look but also feel a little bit different as well. So we talk about kind of social good organizations a little bit before, and these are generally kind of social enterprises that, are about a particular service or product, but really also about making the world a better place as well. And I've definitely seen a larger trend as far as individuals either looking to make a career transition or even coming out of school saying, yeah, I'd really love to be part of an organization that has a larger mission. So I think that we'll be seeing more and more of that here in the future as well.
I don't know if the Life is Good t-shirt company is nonprofit. I have no idea, but I know that that's like a company that's very much into doing good things, and even every time you buy one of their t-shirts that say Life is Good or whatever, a portion of that goes to their...
They have a foundation.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So Life is Good themselves, I kind of put them in the social good organization. So Life is Good as a incorporated company, they don't have a nonprofit, but they do have a foundation. And as you said, certain sales will go, towards this foundation, which is, I think it's called Playmakers, actually.
Okay, it's been a while since I actually researched them a while back and to learn more about what it was that they were actually doing, and it was a little convoluted trying to find out what it is exactly that they do. But it's definitely another organization that's trying to make the world a better place.
For sure.
So yeah. What about some industries are shrinking, like radio? How is nonprofit doing? Is nonprofit, is it growing? Is it getting smaller? Is it staying the same? What's sort of the future growth or shrinkage of nonprofit?
Yeah, well, why don't we maybe look at slide number 5?
Okay.
We can hit two birds with one stone here.
Okay.
And this is a graph here from the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Okay.
And what this shows is over basically a 10-year span where employment trends have been for-profit compared with nonprofit.
Okay.
So the blue we can see is the nonprofit.
Okay.
And the red is the for-profit. And so, 2000, 2007 were between 2000 and 2008, I'm sorry, those were the major increases for nonprofit jobs. And then obviously we can see 2008, with the economy doing what it has, there was a big drop in for-profit jobs and then a marginal increase for nonprofit jobs. And in 09 and 010, you could see something similar where, again, very marginal increase for nonprofit jobs, but again, a decrease for-profit jobs. So although the nonprofit sector hasn't grown as it has back in the early 2000s and even mid 2000s, it is still growing. And I think that's really important to think about. And so definitely there are organizations that are growing, even some like wildfire. Some that I've spoken to this year that are looking to triple in size.
Wow.
I was just on the phone with an organization that generally I would say is focused on kind of human services, direct services, and they've grown, over the last 2 or 3 years. Their development department alone used to be a department of 6. Now they're over 30. So there are definitely organizations doing really great work, being able to really prove that, show it, be really engaged in the community, bring in some great volunteers, and are growing.
What are some specific areas that are growing?
So I would definitely say the health sector is definitely something to look at. And a lot of times you say health sector and you immediately think nurses. There are definitely needs for nurses, but from my expertise, generally it comes more from the back office. So this is administration, programming, and fundraising and development. These are big areas. But as a sector, I'd say healthcare is definitely one that you'd want to be attuned to.
Okay.
Another is certainly in the environment. We know what's going on with the whole global warming area of things, and certainly Massachusetts has a lot of kind of neat things going on. From the sustainability to solar power to wind power, all these different things going on.
Right.
And so this is an area that you'd want to think about and look at, research further, and ideally get to know some people that maybe are engaged in there. Or, again, what we're talking about here is volunteering. So what better way to learn about an organization, meet the people inside, to get out, get engaged,
Right.
see the environment, and then ultimately really decide, hey, yeah, this is someplace I could really see myself dedicating some longer term time, or, hey, they did great work. I'm happy to recommend others to it, but maybe I want to look for something slightly different.
And because we're running a little tight on time, why don't you also tell us, what about special degrees or special experience? What do you need any special qualifications in order to start working, you know, either for profit or volunteering at a nonprofit, and as well as some of the upcoming trends going on in nonprofit?
There are certain, you know, areas where a degree may be, or an additional degree may be necessary. So, direct service actually is one of the areas, particularly of major growth right now, and so that may require, you know, an MSW or, you know, something along those lines.
An MSW?
A Master of Social Work.
Okay, just want to make sure
that everyone's on the same page. Sure. So, you know, that being one example. Certainly, you know, with larger organizations, larger nonprofits, you know, kind of the larger you get, a lot of the times the more not only competition there is, but the more need for perhaps an MBA or a master's in public administration, an MPA. Organizations may oftentimes say, you know, additional degree or MBA or MPA preferred.
Huh, okay.
And so again, it's something to be aware of. I always recommend if it says preferred, but you have everything else, go ahead and apply for it. You know, try for it. But again, what we're talking about here is kind of getting in kind of through that back door, which is through, you know, volunteering, really getting to learn about the organization, ideally being able to prove some of your value, bringing value in, and then seeing where it might be able to take you.
Cool.
Did I answer all your questions?
The other question is, and I don't know how much time do we have? All right, about a minute. All right, so what are some of the upcoming trends in the sector? Answer that quickly and we'll plug your book and we'll be done.
I think we pretty much hit on them. You know, we talked about the health sector, the environmental sector. Those are, I think, trending areas for us to be aware of. You know, volunteerism itself, that is on the rise as well. So I think that's, again, something for you to think about. Yeah, I think just generally this kind of trend as far as, you know, there's more information out there as far as nonprofit jobs, nonprofit trends. So easy to kind of Google it in and find some additional information as well.
And that sounds excellent because, you know, like I said before, it really seems like volunteering is such a fantastic opportunity to try to get your foot in the door somewhere, and it can be something that you really like and something that you want to do. So I want to thank you very much, Mark. We're out of time.
Excellent.
Just want to mention the book again, Strategic Volunteering, 50 Ingredients to Transform Your Life and Career by Mark McCurdy. Pardon me.
You can find that on Amazon.com.
All right, fantastic. And my name's Brian Henchy. This has been the New England Job Show. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for having me.